everybody, how you doing? I'm Pabs, the right scene VTuber and artist, and today we're going to be drawing a little bit of fan art for Kamen Rider, the very, very first one. Yeah, from what I can see, oh hey, Goten is still up there. Let me get that guy out of there. Yeah, if you haven't heard, there is a movie currently screening called Shin Kamen Rider. It is is reboot the right word? Like adaptation? Hang on, let me look it up on Wikipedia. To get the technical term right. Superhero film. Yeah, all right. Oh no, okay. It is just straight up called a reboot. Yeah. So in case you haven't heard, that crazy son of a gun Hideaki Anno, who made Evangelion as well as a bunch of other things that greatly influenced otaku culture and all that. He's been rebooting a lot of tokusatsu series the last few years, right? Like there's been Shin Godzilla, Shin Ultraman, and now finally we have Shin Kamen Rider that's airing. So I thought, yeah, that's not airing where I live, by the way. If it was, I would have caught it like yesterday or today. Like stream be damned. So I'm going to cope with that by trying to draw a fan art of the original guy. So I didn't actually watch the original series, but I did read the entirety of the manga based on the original series made by, which was drawn by Shotaro Ishinomori. This one on the left is that's actually my thumb there in the frame. I considered censoring my own thumb for the bit, but then I realized that when you censor stuff that is generally skin toned, it leaves a worse impression. It's bad. Anyway, yeah, I was just flipping through the pages before streaming, trying to get some good references, and I got these three plus this one from another manga called Kamen Rider Spirits. I'm not sure what Spirits deal is. I think it's again an adaptation, similar to how Ishinomori's is, but the main difference being that Spirits probably released much later. You can actually see in a lot of especially these earlier panels, you can still see that Ishinomori was a dude who made manga during the Showa era. I don't know, manga from this era have a very distinctive style, because the thing is, right, it isn't a massive industry like it is these days, right? It was a relatively smaller industry. I imagine that as these were the times when Osamu Tezuka was still the one who was influencing a lot of art style for stuff like this. I imagine I need to get brush up on my on the history of manga and how on which were the main defining factors of the style, because if you look at stuff like this and Tomorrow's Joe and stuff like that, you see a lot of similarities in both in the you know how nowadays there's a quote unquote anime style, right? Very similar to that. You can tell that it is all more or less from the same era. I do wonder what influenced that, because I know that Osamu Tezuka was influenced by stuff like Bambi. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. So my idea was to have all right, where is this? So very similar to this pose here. I don't know why he keeps doing this almost T-pose kind of thing. But my idea was to have this almost falling through the air. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need the use of what do you call oh god, I keep getting jump scared by my Will Smith brush. I don't even use that brush. That thing was supposed to be a proof of concept. All right. Is there do I have a pose that's just splayed out? Or falling? Not quite. I should have one somewhere around here, something that at least looks similar. I want to really get some good angles on this. And if not, I can always go shopping around for it. Wait, No, that's not right. Come on, you're telling me that all of these poses and oh wait, no, hang on. I feel like this one might actually work. On your feet, soldier. All right, here we go. This almost looks like, you know, earlier when he was lying down, this looked very peaceful, but now it looks like he's like being led as a prisoner. All right, let's fix the torque on some of these arm joints. Oh God, just like bring that forward for me, champ. Thank you very much. Let's see. You know, I kind of, unless like it's being cut off by the gutter here, I don't think you can actually see his hands or feet in this panel. Which is, well, it's not that weird, is it? I don't know. I feel like hands are just such an expressive part that it feels weird to cut them off, right? All right. Also, the good news is that because we are dealing with somebody who's falling from the sky, we get to do some fun stuff with the model. Like this. All right, anyway, let's see. Okay, let's see how we can finagle this. Because I do want to remain like fairly faithful to like the manga pose. All right. Legs just a little bit further apart. Yeah, that's something that always got to me about like with the Rider belt actually. So for those of you not familiar with like how Kamen Rider works, it's like he has a like especially in like the modern series, it's all about the belt, right? Like the belt. Well, no, the series is about a lot of things, but like the belt is like kind of like the main selling point. You know how like a lot of cartoons in the 80s were just like 30-minute long commercials. That's kind of like what Kamen Rider's purpose is to some degree, right? It's like a lot of it is about like the merchandising. So you want to sell the belt. The original belt is supposed to be, in the story, it's supposed to be like a energy cell almost, right? It's like, so he rides around on the bike. The turbine in the belt sucks up the energy, and it gets stored like in these chest plates here, and that allows him to transform fully like that. Or rather, it's super weird, right? Because it's like in most cases, a Kamen Rider, like I feel like especially because I'm more familiar with like the more modern stuff, right? I'm more used to the belt being the thing that transforms them, but like in the original one, they're always transformed because like they're always cyborgs, right? Like the whole thing is that they're cyborgs. This looks so funny, like if you see that from the perspective of the ground. Anyway, so like the whole thing is that they're cyborgs, right? So because they have access to the technology at all times, but it's only with the belt providing the additional energy that they get from riding around on their motorcycle that they can fully transform and fully utilize those powers. And I thought that was an interesting twist because I feel like a lot of the belts these days, at least from what I've seen, right, from my limited experience, it's like the belts are like the actual like kind of like the all-in-one package, right? Like outside of the belts, they're just like regular dudes. Like for like Kamen Rider belt, for example, like Kiryu Sento is just a normal ass guy. He's a weirdo, yes, and a physicist, but he's just a normal ass guy without the belt. At least I think so. I still haven't finished watching Build. We know at least one dude running around in there who's like at least part alien. So we don't know. I don't know for sure if Kiryu is just like a normal dude. I mean, he might be. He might not be. I also am wondering if I should like do as the movie did and give him a trench coat. That I feel like that's an interesting way to like set him apart because like the most iconic part of Kamen Rider is like the scarf, right? You know, obviously there's like this grasshopper motif, there's the belt and everything. But like if you want to think about like the idea of like the original one, the at least to me, right, the like most iconic part of the outfit is the scarf. Again, the belt is very important, but like to me the scarf is like what's doing a lot of the legwork for the total cohesion of this. Look, he's doing cartwheels. Okay. Should we make the model a little bit more jacked? I feel like we should make it a little bit more jacked. Yeah. Because of the like weird proportions on some of the well, weird is not the right word, right? Like they're decent proportions, they're just like no, sometimes it does like look a little off. It's got a more cartoony style, right? Like older comics like from the Showa era have like an almost like western cartoon style sometimes. And because of that, sometimes these like top plates on the armor are a little bit exaggerated. They look a little bit like boobs sometimes, I'm not going to lie. Okay, so let's do it like this. First I'm going to take a sip of water. No, but I have like the right like the way that I read the manga was that I got the like on Amazon for like $40. You can buy the omnibus of the original Kamen Rider manga, and for that price, it's like 400 pages, right? Like for that price, that's pretty good. All right, let's see. Yeah. Weirdly enough, the grasshopper motif is something that I didn't really question up until very recently. I was like looking at the mask and I'm like thinking, wait, why do we have grasshoppers anyway? Right? I read up a little bit about it. It turns out that the designer for this, Shotaro Ishinomori, the guy who created the manga as well, he ended up making a like he originally wanted like a skull type kind of thing, like he wanted it to look a little bit like a skull, but you know, this is being marketed towards kids, right? So as a kind of compromise, he was like, all right, no skull. We make him a grasshopper instead, which has very similar visual cues to a skull, but it's not a skull. And I guess everybody around there said, yeah, that's legit, because when you have the dude who I don't know, I feel like Shotaro Shinomori is very influential because I've seen his name pop up a lot. I couldn't tell you like to the degree that he is influential, but I'm guessing like fairly influential, especially to the point that like he not only designed this character but like made the manga for it as well. So I'm gonna put some respect on his name. When Shotaro Ishinomori says he wants a skull in his character design, you just say, what would be a good way? What's like a good follow up for that? Like usually when they say like when I say jump, you say how high. But if somebody says you want skeletons or skulls in there, like I guess the only real response is how many. There's also a little bit of like a hang on. There's like an upward loop to it or an upward curve to it. God bless the liquify tool. Seriously, I don't know what my life was like before Clip Studio Paint had the liquify tool. And it was released like very short, like relatively short, a relatively short amount of time ago. Like definitely before all the like Clip Studio Paint 2.0 nonsense started faffing about, but definitely like I feel like it's definitely been like maybe a year, maybe a year. Speaking of a year, we're already 6 months into it. Can you believe that shit? It's June. It feels like just yesterday I was like shivering in like a hoodie and a blanket, being like, "Oh man, when summertime rolls around, I'm gonna go insane." And now it is summertime, and I'm like, "All right, I've gone insane, but like not in the way that I had hoped." I mean, I made some pretty good chicken the other day. Does that count as going insane? I feel like if it was like, I don't know, chicken just does not feel like that extreme of a food, right? Like, yes, you do have the benefit of like, what do you call, like chicken wings, right? Like spicy chicken wings are pretty hardcore, but like I feel like in general, chicken is just like underpowered as a tool for being hardcore. There's something I really like about like this old helmet design. I don't know. There's just something about it that I really enjoy. There's like a simplicity to it, right? I feel like nowadays the helmet designs feel like they're trying too much to be like human eyes, which to some extent makes sense, right? Like I said, the transformation things, especially like compared to like this original run, right, of this original idea upon which it was based, because like they've done just about everything under the sun they could at this point, right? It's been 50 years. It's a long time for like design ideas to come and go. Hang on. Hmm. But yeah, like because the original Kamen Rider thing is like he's an inhuman cyborg who fights for humanity. It makes sense that they kind of like made him look more bug-like. It makes sense that they made him look like less human. That's one of the things that I found that I really enjoyed about with my time with the Shotaro Ishinomori manga. Like it felt it felt very poignant. Like there are the several scenes where Takeshi is just like, we're not even like just Takeshi, but like also Ichimonji is like, I I'm having all these human emotions, which is weird because I'm basically not even human anymore. Right? It has like that very consistent theme of like, I have become something very extremely powerful, and I don't like the implications of that for my state as a human being. Also, I'm realizing now that it's not like digging into the eye circle. It's like it's like a little curve thing. Oh, okay, yeah, no, that's making much more sense. I should probably get more into drawing characters who just wear helmets all the time. That way, I never have to worry about drawing ears again for the rest of my life. I feel like that's a dangerous line of thought. I mean, I already don't have to draw like eyes, noses, mouth. Well, no, I have to draw my mouth because that's maybe the one facial feature that I'm entitled to consistently. I'm allowed to have eyes sometimes. Just as a little treat. Okay. Oh yeah, and the scarf. Okay. No. Okay. It needs to. The scarf. I like the like angles that I've come up with the scarf. Come up with for the scarf, but I kind of want them to be The scarf is tied at the front, is the thing. So like it would have to start around here. Hang on. A couple of ways we could do this. One, we could like do it from here, and then have it like almost like whip up around the helmet. But I'm worried about like what that's gonna do for like the readability of it. Okay, I think this is a good compromise. Actually, you know what? Let me duplicate this just in case I want to go back to the helmet. Okay, now we do. Now we go. Yeah. Man, I thought I was getting pretty good at like distinguishing distinguishing Hongo from Ichimonji, but the thing is, right, I used to do it by like looking at the white line on Ichimonji's jumpsuit, right? Like they have very subtle differences, right? The difference in belt colors, the white line here, the helmets are slightly different. That's why I feel like the one in this panel is probably Ichimonji, but like at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. It's very difficult for me to tell them apart because I feel like, and I looked this up after a while. Hongo comes back and he also has like those white lines on his jumpsuit, so I stopped being able to like distinguish them in pictures. Go 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 go. I was meaning to like make the scarf trail upward, but I like the idea of it like trailing backwards instead. Let me take another look at the comic panel. Then maybe like we could have something like this almost, where it's like crossing over. Okay, yeah, that looks good. I like that. Okay, and then all right, the chest piece. Very. I'm grateful that they make the chest piece like fairly simple. Like, more recent, more modern suits are completely fucked on levels of detail, but like the original one, very simple, very easy to do. Good stuff. I wonder if that was like also an influence from the fact that Shotaro Ishinomori is like he was like a comic artist first. I know for a fact that he made like I think Cyborg #9 was the only work of his that I'm like super familiar with. I haven't read Cyborg #9, but like I know that one was like fairly influential at the time. Let's see. But yeah, I wonder if like the main artist being like a comics guy influenced like the simplicity of the design, because to be perfectly fair, right? Like this was like the first thing of its kind, right? It's like the first. Well, no, it's probably not like the very very first example, but like it's the one that like the most famous example, the most famous originator, the kind of like grandfather almost of like the transforming hero genre. So to be fair to them, they didn't have like something to work off of, right? Okay. I remember seeing in one of the illustrations in the comic that this thing has like three little wing things. The turbine has like three wings. Okay, so let's what was hang on. What was that noise I just made? I sounded like somebody closing and opening their dog's mouth with their hand very quickly. I sounded like a very old car engine sputtering out. I sounded like the idea, like the voice clip somebody would make for like an old man in an Animal Crossing game. That was a good sound. I should try to make it again sometime. Oh yeah, does it have like? Okay, it does have like some kind of like weird little box trinket at the side here, which I'm guessing is like part of the mechanisms or whatever. That's not in the original one, is it? I mean, no, it's in this one. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do like no trench coat. I like the no trench coat look. There we go. But yeah, I really admire the simplicity of the original suit. You know, I find like this weird trend where like back in the day, it was like almost every protagonist had to be like Batman, right? And what I mean by that is that like in like the lore of the original Kamen Rider, especially particularly what I know from the comics, I'm not sure if this also applied to the TV show, but I'm sure it did. Like Takeshi Hongo is supposed to be like a college student, and then but like he's also like the smartest dude on earth. Like he has like a 600 IQ or some shit. He knows like karate and stuff. And I feel like you have like characters who are hyper competent like that, but they very rarely these days have those kind of like credentials, right? I feel like this was back from a time when like people like respected the idea of like qualifications more, because like if you had like that like statistic, you had that like quantitative idea of like how tough somebody is, that almost acted as a shorthand. Those qualifications used to be like everything. I don't know. Maybe that's just me talking out of my rear, though. Yeah, I feel like these days I don't know. Maybe it's because like in the past there was like an idea that a hero needs to be somebody that's like distinct from your everyman, right? But nowadays the everyman is the hero. I don't know. Is that anything? Can we get some media experts to weigh in on this opinion? Hmm. I'm not sure which style I like more. I feel like they each itch a different scratch, or scratch a different itch, rather. Because I feel like having the everyman as a protagonist works really well, especially for comedies or like things that are supposed to be more lighthearted. Because, you know, Takeshi Hongo being like, if Takeshi Hongo was just like a normal dude and he was just like suddenly put into this situation, I mean, you know, he is a normal dude put in a situation. That's like 90% of the thing. It's like his loss of humanity is a really consistent theme. But like, what if Hongo Takeshi was just like some schmuck that didn't know how to tie his own shoelaces? Like, I do wonder if like it would have been different because in a lot of cases, you know, it is like Hongo thinking on his feet that like saves the day, at least in the manga. There are some raw ass moments that happen in that comic. Remember that time that he fought like a vampire and he just like well he just like drove a grave through it. Like that was pretty hardcore, man. I don't think he needed to do all that to kill it, but like I guess it worked. So it is also interesting how like the comic tried to like blend these popular ideas of like monsters with like you know sci-fi almost kind of explanations and ideas, right? Like for example, the vampire I was talking about, it looks like a bat. It bites people to control them, you know, like a vampire do. But it's revealed that like this like when it bites them, it injects them with like a highly specialized virus or whatever that is what like controls their brains. And like that's the story behind the man bat. So I personally really enjoyed when like things have like a scientific backing to them, right? It doesn't have to be realistic. I just like the idea that something is like rooted in science because then I feel like it has like a much more grounded approach. Okay. Okay. Do it like this. And do it like this. Oh yeah. Speaking of grave sites, I read about this like is it fair to call it a startup? I feel like nowadays you can call basically anything a startup and it'll be more or less accurate because of the fact that most things do need to start up at some point. I don't know. I feel like there's like a difference between an independent business and a startup. I feel like a startup really emphasizes like growth, right? And like a small business will also have it in its goals to grow, right? But it's not at like this with the same degree of emphasis as say like a startup. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy and paste this layer and I'm going to start like drawing like in like different colors what I want the effects to be because this is going to be like I did want it to have like neat effects and stylization. So the first one is to have like in the background here, very similar to this like whirling beam, right? Because this is when Hongo's just like waking up, right? So he's waking up under this like surgical table basically. And he just sees like this like well no it's over the radio right but what he sees is like this like spinning room with all these spinning lights and it transitions into like looking like the motorcycle spoke and I think that's really cool as a visual effect. Right on. Then okay, so then what would be the best way to do this? Okay, so that's 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so we have I'm fascinated with how this must have been made. Because obviously, like if it's a more recent thing, then they could have just like done it digitally, right? But like, I wonder how they managed to pull it off in ye old days. This kind of visual effect. Let me see here. That's a square. I didn't mean to draw a square. Okay, here we go. Okay, third time's the charm. Fourth time's the charm. Boom, first try. I'm fooling. All right, so would it not be then better to trying to think of how I want this to look, right? Maybe doing it like more loosey goosey is a good idea for like the first thing. First of all, I'm gonna like try and do it and see if it looks good with the composition. Okay, so how many lines are there? As many as we want there to be. All right, cool. Okay. Okay, yeah, I think this can look really cool. Okay, so we have like this like circle stuff going on in the background. So then, what should I do for the foreground? No, that doesn't look good. I did want to like do something with the belt, right? May like have the belt. Oh, that would be a good idea. May have the belt kind of interrupt what's all the stuff going on in the background. Yeah, very similar. Well, no, in this one he's got like laser beam eyes. Boom. I like that sound effect. Boom. I really want to do something with the belt. This thing though. I don't know. Would this look better with the eyes or with the belt? Let me do like a. Let me try this out. Because on the one hand, the belt gives it like a more. I feel like the belt helps it obey the rule of thirds, right? But on the other hand, I feel like the eye shine has an ability to like maybe bring some peace to this like otherwise cluttered thing. Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna do the belt one. And we can do like little bits here and there to like continue emphasizing the light source. Okay. I think I've got an idea of how I want this to look in the end game. Okay, so I think first things first, I should save my progress. Let's see. Yeah. Something that I really find interesting about like Kamen Rider, right, is that for a lot of the heroes, because they are supposed to be like, in most cases, I think, I don't know, what was Ghost's deal? I know that there's like Kamen Rider Ghost. Did like was that straight up like human possession, or like what was that? That also have like a machine element? What was the case with that? Because if it has a machine element, then it makes sense. But like otherwise, you're just like being possessed by a dead dude and gaining their skills. Hmm. Okay, where do I begin with this? All right, I think we should begin by looking at the actual body. Okay. Finally, I get to stop using the Millie pen. All right, let's do this thing. Maybe 10 for the width. Yeah, that should be good. I don't know how I'm gonna shade this one is the thing. I'm not sure how much detail I should actually like put into the actual parts of it because I don't know how much of it I'll end up covering in like black point. Okay, let me take a look at the Shin Kamen Rider ref again. Okay, no, they do have like a little bit of rounding. They're not like completely like dragon scales like I made them look like here. Yeah, speaking of stuff that looks like dragon scales, I found out that in like the Andean mountains, they make this one fruit called what's it called? Like chirimuya, I think. Yeah, the like I'm not sure like what the original like. I know it's a Quichua word, but I think like some people also call it like a custard apple. And it's supposed to be like this fruit that is very difficult to grow because like it's weird pollination shit, right? Like some you need to like hand pollinate it from what I read. So it's very rare and difficult to like farm. But apparently it does taste just like custard, and it's very. I think Mark Twain ate it a couple times and was like, "Yeah, no, this stuff is bussin'." I don't trust Mark Twain for many things, but I trust him. But I at least trust that he would enjoy something called a custard apple. Let's see. Okay. It still makes me laugh a little bit every time I remember that Takeshi Hongo has a mullet. Like imagine you're just a random college student, right? You're out riding your motorcycle because it's what you do. You know, you're having a little bit of fun. You're on the BMX track. You're pulling some six stunts. Some dude who's like watching over you is cheering you on. It's a great day. It's like 30 degrees out, or no, it's more like a nice 20 degrees out, right? You're not you're feeling pretty good about stuff, and then all of a sudden, like some dudes, you get rammed on both ends by two different cars being driven by dudes you've never met before. You get kidnapped. You learn from a disembodied voice over a radio that they're going to turn you into a cyborg to murder people. You escape with the help of a plucky scientist who's defecting from the cause. And to top it all off, the scientist dies. You have to fight this evil organization on your own. And to top it all off, you have to wear a mullet at the same time. Like, come on. Give the man a break. I mean, I don't know. It was well, no, it wasn't the 80s, but it was like it was a long time ago. The mullets were in fashion at the time. In fact, that might have been the only thing keeping him going. I don't know. We make fun of mullets, but I don't see what's wrong with them. I respect the mullet as a hairstyling choice. I don't know. Is it just because like it's out of fashion? Is that why it's like no longer fashionable, right? Or it's like tacky, right, to have a mullet? Man, not to sound like a hater, but I do hope that at some point happens with like those undercuts that people are getting. Like they look good on a lot of people is the thing, but like I'm just very tired of seeing so many of them. I don't know. I think the best way to avoid like something you dislike becoming a permanent fixture in society is by not even paying attention to it, right? Like if you don't like a TV show or like a haircut, for example, I'm not the biggest fan of undercuts myself, for example. Just ignore them. Just don't draw attention to them because like the sooner they lose their identity in like the public gestalt or whatever, gestalt, zeitgeist. I don't remember what the word is for like the collective consciousness, basically, but the sooner they like stop having any relevance, because like even a negative reaction is a reaction, right? So as long as somebody like continues to have that reaction towards it, people who will be looking to elicit that reaction from others, oh my god, will continue to wear it. It'll be like a perpetual cycle, never ending. So yeah, my advice: if you don't like something, if it gets in your way, obviously, like if it's become an actual obstacle to you, then you have like the right of way to remove it. But if it just like bugs you, ignore it. Ignore it. Don't say anything. Don't like pipe up about it because like somebody will find a way to like subsume those ideas and thoughts, and also it might just hurt somebody's feeling, right? Like I'm saying like, oh, I'm not a huge fan of undercuts. A friend of mine might be like, but I want to get an undercut, and I've inadvertently hurt their feelings, right? There's positives to be said for everything, right? I had an undercut for a little while myself because it was the only haircut game in town, but and I enjoyed how breezy it felt. I liked feeling my like you know over my wig. I mean, I like feeling like the hypothetical feel of like my freshly peeled scalp. Right? It felt interesting. It was like a new sensation, and I liked it. But I'm just not a big the even having said that, I'm not the biggest fan of them. Man, what was my favorite haircut? It's got to be a strong tie between like I don't know. I really enjoyed having like slightly more grown out hair during the pandemic. It was such a pain in the ass, but I don't know. There was something very nice about just being able to tie it up a little bit, right? Like I'm here I am going on my high horse about haircut opinions when I myself like was like, I kind of enjoyed having a man bun. For the short amount of time that I was able to pull it off, I enjoyed having a man bun. Like, I'd have my hair down and I'd be like, all right, time to get to work. I'd do my hair up and instantly I would feel like I'm more ready for stuff. I don't know. When I was a kid, I used to tie a bandana around my head whenever I wanted to like get shit done. Right? Like whenever I was like intensely studying. I think it must have been like a holdover from my watch through of One Piece or some shit, but I still find that it helps. So I don't know. Maybe it was like activating those that kind of ancient memory of mine. Yeah. Strong contender for the most favorite haircut I've had has to be that one summertime I dyed like a big streak of my hair blue because I didn't particular like it's not like I was thrilled to have like blue hair, but I don't know how to put it. It's more like the what the hair symbolized. I feel because I feel like my parents weren't like super jazzed about me wanting to dye my hair, but I wanted to do it, right. And so my family let me dye my hair for like one summer I was allowed to dye my hair, and I did it, and I felt it felt like, how do I put this, there were times I'd been selfish before, but like This felt like a request from the bottom of my heart. Like I literally didn't have anything to gain other than having blue hair for a little while. So I don't know. There was something that felt especially pure about that request and hairstyle to me. Even though it wasn't anything special, the fact that I had blue hair for just a very little short amount of time and I willed it, and I willed, you know, it was like of my own volition. It was like my choice, right? I don't know. Something about that made it very special. Blue haired wig, of course. I mean, I swear to God, I'm just gonna start putting hair on my model without saying a word, just so I can actually talk about my hair. Yeah, human Paps has such nice hair is the thing. Yeah, it looks like a shaggy mess when I show up from time to time, but like, trust, it is like the nicest hair you've ever seen. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, now we get to do the scarf, which is a very fun bit for me. I don't know. I really like these long flowing cloths. I feel like they're super fun to draw. Which is probably like when I'm drawing like long hair, I think of it as like long things of cloth. Which I feel like some long hair can act like that, right? It's not that far out there, but it's probably not how you're supposed to do it. Or at least not the optimal way. For stylization, though, it works very well. Okay, there we go. Oh, yeah. I've learned that there's anyway. I was talking about like startups and independent businesses and everything. I lost my train of thought for a good while, but I got it. I got it back. We are so back. Anyway, um, I learned that apparently there is a business that will make you a coffin out of mycelium and hemp fiber. So the point of this thing, right, is that it just decomposes very, very quickly. Right, 40 days is like the estimated time it takes for like one of these bad boys to break down, and it's actually like a very cheap coffin as well. Like it'll run you like $121 when like a metal coffin is surprisingly expensive. Did I do too many folds on this? I think I did too many folds on this. It looks nice like this, but I feel like it there's so many folds that it actually like gets distracting. Anyway, so this tombstone, right, or not tombstone coffin. I do wonder if there's like other applications for this mycelium stuff. Obviously, I don't know. I don't know if we could use it for like drink containers. Probably not. We would have figured out if we can use it for drink containers already. If we could. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. It's very weird. I get excited for things that either never break down or things that break down really easily. The latter because you'll never need to throw it away. I mean, the former because you'll never need to throw it away, but the latter because if we're gonna throw it away, we might as well make sure that it doesn't like harm the environment, right? So I don't know. I hope we can use technology like that for like drink cans or whatever. I don't know. I already hate like paper straws. I hate paper straws so much. Like I sort of got they get. I don't know if it's just because like my mouth is like saliva heavy or some shit, but I feel like those suckers break down way too fast, and then you can like taste the paper, and it's just so gross. I'm not the biggest fan of them. I'd rather have no straw than a paper straw, to be perfectly honest. But like, you know, you get like a Sprite from McDonald's, you're not gonna be slurping that stuff straight from the cup. I think in most cases, I feel like it's very uncomfortable to slurp straight from the cup in for like most fast food drink containers. Like the straw is not only for you know I don't know. The straw is just wait. I was about to say like it's less for the aesthetic and more for the convenience, but that's kind of what straws are meant for to begin with. Is convenience. What the hell am I talking about? Less for the aesthetic. I don't know. Straws can have an aesthetic as a thing, though. I feel like a drink with a straw in it has like a very specific kind of like mall fast food aesthetic. Hmm. But yeah, I wonder. I know hemp, for example, like hemp the plant fiber, not hemp the recreational drug, is actually a very versatile little plant thing. So I am hoping we get more stuff out of that in the future. I don't know. The thing is, right? The thing about like these super disposable materials is that one, they're extremely disposable. So if you do get something made out of them, it's going to break down pretty quickly. And two, in a lot of cases, there's a reason we don't use it very regularly for stuff, and it's because it just there's just better stuff out there in terms of like clothing materials, like hemp, for example. Hemp, I think, is supposed to be like very itchy if you turn it into a shirt. I don't know. We probably have the technology to make it like not itchy, right? Like, there's no way we don't. Hmm. I don't know. I kind of wanted to try out canvas stuff for a little while, right? Like canvas clothing and all that. I don't know. I think the one thing that I will just absolutely never budge on, though, is denim for pants. I like jeans way too much to not wear pants made out of denim. Okay, and down here. Where's like the center line of this guy? It's we're a little bit off is the thing. Oh, and this one looks a little bit like hang on, weirdly proportioned. Does this look better? Hmm. Let me turn off the reference. Flip it around, maybe. Let's round this out a little. Okay, I think I see the problem. There's like a lack of perspective on the little middle line here. Yeah, the reason I included the slits like this is because there's supposed to be like a little gap in the middle here where air is supposed to come through as well, I think. At least in the comic, that was the case. How's that look back? No, no. There's something not right about that. Okay, this might work a little bit, making it like squarer. Let's see how that. I don't know. Something about this don't feel right. Maybe I need to move it around. I think maybe that's the problem. Let's see, like this. Yeah, that works. But the rib cage, I think that's okay. So extend this. There we go. That looks more even, but not completely so just yet. Okay, and then there. I think that should be good. No. Oh, I think I know what's up. Right, let's move these guys a little bit further back. It's gonna be difficult to select just the ones that I want this time around. Damn it. You know what we need for Clipsedo Paint? You know what my proposal for the next tool that they develop is? A tool that lets you remember like the last vector lines you had selected with your object tool. I don't know. Is it possible to make something like that? Is it already in here? There needs to be something like this. There has to be. Okay, and then bring this back. Oh, this kind of armor style is probably also influenced by the desire to make like a skeleton man, huh? Poetic cinema. I don't know. Learning that this was supposed to be a skull dude originally puts a lot of it into context. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay. And like this. Yeah, I feel like the clothing would hug his body very tightly if he's falling like this. God, it is really funny that like his belt generates energy by wind pressure. The funniest scene to me in all of the comic is when he's fighting like I think it's still he's still fighting like the man bat or whatever, and the man bat's solution to kill him is to just drop him from a really high place, right? Which would work for literally anybody except the dude who generates power by through wind pressure. So instead of killing him, the drop just made him go like supercharged, and he just started whipping Man Bat's ass up, down, and around. I still think that's really funny. like imagine you were like bouncing a ball. You were like doing that thing where like you were bouncing a ball between like stories of a house to see how high it can go. And one of the times you drop the ball, it just like whips out a knife at you. That's like if you had an ant problem and you use like ant poison, right? Except for one ant which becomes like incredibly which like hulks out when it eats poison, and now you have to fight like that ant whenever you go by. Yeah. Because many of the times the goons that are supposed to be coming after Kamen Rider are supposed to be like technologically superior to him. Because, you know, it'd be kind of bullshit if he was the strongest cyborg. There wouldn't be that kind of like idea of like him being in danger all the time. Let's see. Hmm. Would you ever become a cyborg? I'm not sure I would. There was a dude who had a panel at a convention I went to the other year where he talked about like the fact that he was a cyborg because you know he didn't have any prosthesis, but he did have like you know basically are the most modern versions that we can get of like cybernetic implants. Right? He has I think it was like 1 terabyte, 6 terabyte, a fairly large like hard drive or solid state drive stored in his leg, for example. That apparently he has a lot of difficulties getting on planes because of. Anyway, like he one of the points that he made, I actually asked, right, like I was at this panel and I asked, hey, like what is it like getting this stuff? And like he outright said like it's extremely painful because you know most licensed doctors aren't looking to put metal in their patients' bodies, so you have to do this in like you have to basically do this with a friend helping you out. Like it, weirdly enough, it's not illegal to do surgery on yourself or surgery on someone else, as long as you're not looking at. I don't know. I'd have to like check the laws on this, but basically, it's not illegal to do surgery like grindhouse surgery on yourself, basically. So these guys would basically get their friends to help them out, like installing this hardware on themselves. And because of the fact that it's like no doctors are helping out, they don't have anesthetics. So yeah, it sounds like it's an extremely painful process, and I'm not really interested in all that. I've got enough shit going on without needing to like bite down on a metal bar like it's fucking Edge Runners or some shit while installing a 6 terabyte hard drive in my leg. I just install. I just like have it. I just have it external for the time being, in my personal preference. I don't know though. I think it's interesting. I do like while I wouldn't go for it myself, I do find it absolutely fascinating that there are people dedicated enough to this ideal to that would undergo that. You know, it was a little bit like meeting like an Olympian, right? Like Olympians train every day of their lives to be the best at what they do. And this guy was, out here giving talks, getting zero anesthesia surgery for those same ideals, for this belief in that technology. Yeah, main difference between Takeshi Hongo and that guy being that Takeshi didn't ask to be cyborged. On the bright hand, Shocker probably, weirdly enough, Shocker I do think would probably provide anesthetic. I feel like Shocker are dicks, but they would at least like provide anesthetic for their cyborgs as they go under the knife. Although no, I do remember that when they woke up with Hongo, they did electrocute him just to show off the fact that he's like basically immortal now. Unless he's killed by another cyborg. So I don't know. Maybe they do, or maybe they don't. They can. Like, the fact of the matter is they absolutely can. It's just a matter of do they or do they not. Like, I know for facts the shadowy evil organization that's like aiming for world conquest can afford a little bit of anesthetic, but like the question is, are they are they big enough dicks to like not provide that for their cyborgs? Man, the dental coverage plan over at Shocker, I feel like Shocker would have surprisingly good benefits. Like, yeah, you can die as a cyborg, but like, can you imagine the kind of dental they have to offer their goons? The kind of like kickback hush money that you'd have to get as a Shocker goon to not spill the beans on the global conspiracy. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, they need to go, but like, I'm just saying. Well, no, Takeshi also is supposed to be like, at least in the comic, was like a pseudo millionaire or some shit, right? Like he had like a family fortune he could manage to spend. He could probably like meet their 401k plan. Then again, it's not like he was hiring. That's actually kind of a plot point that he can't hire. Well, no, not really a plot point. It's more just a fact of life. Hiring would mean that he'd have to turn somebody else into a cyborg, and he's not willing to do that, so sucks. I don't know. I feel like Hayato would definitely like, like you. I feel like you could fairly well enough convince Hayato to lend you a tenner, and he'd be like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." To catch the bus or something, to get a taxi. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's because like growing up, I mainly had like influences from Spider-Man. I expected most superheroes to like be broke. Like right, Batman for example. I always I didn't expect Batman to be broke, but like I can't picture him like living lavishly. Right, like I can't picture any superhero being like, "Oh yes, fetch the grapes and shower me with cocoa butter." Yes, right. Like I can't picture any. Well, no, I can't picture any human who would do that either. But like, you know what I mean? I can't imagine most superheroes in opulence. I think it was the right move to exclude the jacket. After all, I like it much better like this, dude. I am so happy that the sun is setting much later. Right, like it's pretty late now. Well, relatively speaking, I'm sure for some party animals out there, it must be a reasonable time of the night. But I feel like it's getting late out, but the sun is still around. It's not like it's not like midday sun or whatever, but like it's still light out. You can still like see around. Like if it was like if we didn't have any street lamps right now, the street lamps aren't on, is what I'm trying to say, right? Like you could make your way across town without like needing a flashlight. Dude, I remember one time I had a dream that like all the lights in the city turned off, and like if you stayed outside of the light for too long, like things would come and get you. Yeah. Remember how in Chainsaw Man they like went to, they met like the devil that's supposed to represent the fear of darkness, and like they it literally whipped everybody's asses instantly. I feel like no matter how old you get, like it's very easy to say that you're not scared of the dark, but I feel like darkness really is just one of those primal fears that just amplifies all other fears. The big granddaddy of fears, if you will. Okay. How does a turbine spin again? I think like, hang on. Let me look something up real quick. Turbine spinning. Slow mo. Here we go. Oh, what about fan spinning? Because I'm getting like actual wind turbines, and that's not quite what I'm looking for. No, this is about repairing fans that are too slow. Oh, here we go. What's the slow mo part? Where's the slow mo part? Dude, I don't think this is an actual slow mo video. I think this is just like a normal video of a ceiling fan, like a video of a normal ceiling fan, except it's like slowed down for some reason. The ceiling fan, I mean. Okay, okay, I see it now. Okay, so like the part that's supposed to be like further up is the one that's like, okay, okay. Here we go. Hmm. And then over here. Nice, okay. And then this one. Here we go. All right, let's flip this bad boy around so that we can make sure that we're not like giving him jank proportions. Okay, I need to move the. His head needs to be a little bit bigger. First thing. Just noticed. His head needs to be just a little bit bigger. And I beefed the selection. All right, let's try that again. Okay, expand it. And it makes sense too, right? Because like the helmet would have to like cover the head. Man, what was it with like Showa era superheroes and just like being allergic to having their necks exposed? Because if I think about it, like the original, what do you call the original Sentai guy, like Himitsu Gokai or whatever? That guy's suit also didn't have like a neck, like an actual neck. And Takeshi Hongo's has a neck, but like it's covered by the scarf. Like they're not showing it. What do they not want us to see? What's the conspiracy here? What's the angle? What's the grift? All right, how's this looking? Yeah, it's looking pretty good. All right, let's grab the references from the movie so I can look at the belt again. Okay. Okay. There we go. All right. Okay, so this one's gonna have like a more kind of like cockroach shape. A little bit further down too. Make this a little bit more evenly spaced. Did I draw the teardrops on? No, I didn't draw the like teardrops on the helmet. Might be. Yeah, like that's another thing that I really really love about like the Kamen Rider design is like the kind of like there's like something very poignant as like about the original Kamen Rider, like something that's so poignant because again, a lot of the one of the very recurrent themes in the story is that like Hongo is no longer sees himself or considers himself to be human because of his cybernetics, right? Like he not even cybernetics, like because they replace his entire body. And like it's his struggle not only with like they not only replace his body, but it replaces it with something that's like meant to destroy things. So that kind of like dysmorphia that he experiences during the whole thing is really reflected in the fact that like his helmet looks like it's crying. And that like when somebody pointed out that like the helmet is supposed to look like tear marks, I fucking wept. Like I like actually got like overcome with emotion. Like I don't know. Something about it gets to me, all right? Something about it gets to me. I'm not ashamed to admit it. Yeah. If you remember that the freaking what do you call it? The tokusatsu design I did for Tool a while back, you might remember that I actually referenced that to some extent in her design, or you might have seen that I referenced it to some extent in her design by giving her like, hang on, and you'll be able to see very clearly where I drew inspiration from Kamen Rider for Tool's helmet because her helmet looks like. Hang on, I'm gonna like sketch it out real quick over here. Right, Tool's helmet looks like this. And the eye holes, or like, the visors, are like this, and they are supposed to look like water molecules. But because I also wanted to work in that idea of like grief into Tool's design, I made it so that it looks like she's always welling up with like small tears in her eyes. At least while she's wearing the helmet. I have got to make the fucking Rise of Man comic at some point. Like, I just have to. I can't continue talking about this stuff without actually showing off, like, what it actually has what I'm actually cooking behind it. I was working on the belt design. On, like, the little, like, greebling that's on the belt. I mean, I don't know. Does it need it, to be honest? Like, nah, I'm going to keep it with sans greebling. I am, however, going to add, like, a little something here and there. But it looks so naked without it. Wait, what? It had like some stuff on the side here. Hang on. Yeah, it had like. Okay, hang on. First of all, okay, we'll do it like this then. Okay, so it's like no, it's like pill designed, pill shaped. Okay, we can do this. Okay, and then like this. And then we'll have it like this. Let's just grab these. Wait. What the? Okay, that was weird. It just teleported me around a little bit there. I'm not going to ask too many questions. Okay, there we go. And then grab this one and bring it forward. Expand it a little bit. There we go. Perfect. And just quickly, let's rework the angle on this. Let's also add a little bit of detail here so it looks like it's feeding into the belt, so to speak. Yeah, like that. Okay, bring back the reference or the sketch layer. Okay. 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 And then nice. Okay, okay. Okay, nice. Okay. There we go. And now what else we got? We got man, you know something that I find weirdly challenging to do is to add those like is to like add lines running down a character's design. I don't know if it's just because of like my workflow or what it is, but I find that that's like a very challenging thing, like adding like an Adidas stripe or some shit to a character. I always find it super difficult, or at least, or at the very least, rather bothersome. Especially like since I don't always remember to do it. Yeah. Oh yeah. I was talking about like mushroom coffin earlier. I read it that there's like a mushroom house. So unfortunately, it is not, as I initially suspected, a house built to grow mushrooms. Sorry to let you down if that's what you were expecting me when I said mushroom house. It's like this mushroom shaped house. It looks nothing like an actual mushroom, but it has like the general form of one, right? Like long shaft, flared tip, that kind of thing. So there's this mushroom house that's like near San Diego Beach, I think. Abandoned, completely abandoned. It was made like for something or other. I don't remember. It wasn't like an official event. It was meant to be like a livable house, but it's been abandoned for like years and years. And the thing is, the stupid thing's made of pure concrete, so it's not like it's going to fall down anytime soon, even near the water. Man, you just know that somebody's going to turn that thing into their supervillain lair. I don't know. I feel like next to repurposing it for housing, that's like the number one thing I want to have happen for like abandoned buildings. You either have to like be able to help the population with it, or you need to be able to like get a supervillain in there stat, right? It's like crop rotation. For the civilians occupied for like a few years. They restore the nitrates in the soil, and then when the supervillain moves in, it's like go time. It's like growing corn and then swapping it out with beans. Man, really feels really weird that like my knowledge of crop rotation is literally limited to one obscure side quest in Fallout 1. Oh well, it's not having like zero knowledge of it, right? It doesn't matter where you got the knowledge. As long as it's like functional knowledge, it's fine. Like that's the thing. It needs to work. I don't care. Like if it works and you like learned it from some anime or manga or whatever, I'm gonna think that that's awesome. All right. I'm gonna like pray. I'm gonna like glorify that thing. Obviously, if you're trying to learn stuff from manga, you should be going back to school. But like, if it has like accurate information, my salutes. Honestly. Like just because like usually there's like that little bit of pressure, right, to like eschew realism in favor of like moving the story forward. But I really appreciate it whenever they have like small details about that. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's see how it went. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. I do think that maybe if I shrank this, or maybe hang on, what if I like huh? Okay, big brain time. All right, let's do it like this. No, come on. Let me grab it. Let me grab that little errant dot. There we go. Okay, so we're going to copy and paste this layer, and then we're going to make him nice and big. Yeah, zoom in a little bit. That's something that I've been noticing. Like, it's much easier for me to like draw too much and then cut down than it is for me to like draw too little and then expand. No, I can't cut it off right there. I think the best thing to do would be to maybe like have it here. Hmm. Would it work if I like extended it out even, shrank it down even more? Hmm. Uh. Huh. Okay. I think this is more or less where he was originally, but I can just go in real quick and make sure that like everything's tight. Okay. There we go. And then, okay, we flip it. Hmm. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm gonna increase the size of this hand right here. Hang on. Let me make a raster copy of this and see if I can't play it around with it a little bit with the liquify tool, because I feel. Hmm. Yeah, I think like what's bugging me about this is that like I need his chest to be puffed out a little more. Okay. So here's what let's do. I'm just gonna grab the armor real quick. Just gonna grab it right there. Grab that real quick. Okay, let's increase the size of it. No, you know what? All right, here's what let's do. I'm gonna decrease the size of this rib just a little bit. God, I feel like now I am reconstructing him like a cyborg. Hmm. Will that do? No, it needs a little bit more of a blunted edge right here. Anyway, I was going to do this because I needed to like decrease the size of this half right here. So it would look like it's a little bit more puffed out. And now hopefully I can plug this back in without any ill effects. Hopefully. Oh, the things we do to give bugmen their righteous abdominals. Okay, now see, that's too big. Hmm. Okay, I think I need to like emphasize the shadows on this side. Yeah, I think that was what was missing. Sorry, middle slits. You're gonna have to be let go. Okay, let's see how that looks like unflipped. Yeah, perfect is a strong word, but it's definitely better now. Okay, yeah. Then let's flatten this part out a little bit. Okay, I think that's good for now. We are kind of like at around the time. Ooh, I'm missing some fingers up here. All right, one more thing. We finish the fingers and then we go. Yeah, given my schedule, I'll probably have to finish this sometime next week. But I'm fine with that. Was there anything else I need to talk about? Yeah, I recently discovered this dude on Instagram called Rolando Poo Pajoli. His name is Rolando something or other. He calls himself the Retrologist, which and like his account is just him visiting a whole bunch of different like classical Americana diners and everything. It's super interesting. I don't really use Instagram all that much. I do send like stream notifications there, but like I don't really use it. Should I tilt the head a little bit? I feel like I should tilt the head a little bit. You know, I feel like it's like looking down a little. That doesn't feel quite right. Yeah, that looks better. I'm sorry to let go of some of the scarf, but hey. Oh no, but hang on. No, that's not going to work. All right, a little bit of a compromise then. No, that doesn't look quite right either. I need to have like the helmet silhouette. Maybe if I also turn the scarf. Oh, hang on. Multi-thread rice brain. Let's go. Okay, we accidentally got a bit of his shoulder there, but that's fine. We can... I really wish it was easier to use the operation tool. I feel like legitimate operation on a human person would be easier than using the operation tool sometimes. Oh well, it's a powerful enough tool, so I guess having a little bit of jank to it is forgivable. Alright, and now we also need the scarf. Okay, so what we want... So I'll tell you what I want. What I really, really want is to be able to select this last little bit of the scarf. Okay. Do not deselect anything. If you deselect anything, you are a dog. Maybe if I shrink it down a little bit too. I know I expanded the helmet earlier, but like now I'm shrinking it back down. Okay. Yeah, I think this is the best solution. I like how this looks. I'm going to thicken up some lines on the helmet here. Yeah, especially around the eyes. Okay. That's good for now. All right. Well, thank you to everybody who came by. I really appreciate it. This is the last time I'm streaming this week. On Sunday, I'll put up a schedule for the next week. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you all later. Bye.